Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXTCG, and today we're continuing the set to train with TOP Red Goku's archetype breakdown. So hope you guys are ready. We've been doing a lot of good growth on the channel with these, and I'm just super excited to do more. As per usual, and by usual I mean the past two videos, you'll find this video here with an in-depth breakdown, but then on my Patreon you'll find out my current list for testing, some untap action to show you guys how it runs, and then as I shift up in the upcoming week and a half, 2 weeks in testing for North Carolina, you'll see my shifts, my additions, and where my headspace is at as I test the deck. So with that being said, let's set a light goal of over 100 for this video. I know you guys can do it. You've been doing it before, and we will hop in to TOP Goku. All right, so first and foremost, we're gonna start with the leader as always. You've got this 15k Goku, and he says when attacking, draw one card. And then awaken. When your life is at 3 or less, draw one card, and then flip this card over. Note that this is a 3 or less awaken leader, so you have to be a little careful about that, because once you're at 3, if your hand is too low or your board's not established enough, you'll just get ran over. So you need to make sure that you're ready going into this backside. Now that being said, there's a reason why he's a 3 or less lower leader. That is because on his awaken side, 20k power, when attacking, draw one card, activate main once per turn. 1. Discard one card from your hand, play up to one battle card with 20k power or less, and turn the power in its special traits from your hand. This is going to cheat in quite a lot, and we're going to get into that in the video. But this is also yet another leader that we can't really assess what he does without seeing the cards that were printed in the set, especially seeing as that turn of power is a brand new trait. So, first card we got up here, the boss, the literal queen of red moving into next set, and the pivotal crucial piece of this deck strategy. You have Kefla. 4 cost, 20k, 10k, or 10k combo power. Permanent, if your leader's awakened, this card gets plus 5k power, and then on play, draw one card, then play up to one card with the cost of 3 or less and turn the power into special traits from your hand. Not really too much to say about this card. Excellent combo power, but you don't want to throw it away because it's the master cog. You end up swinging for 25k because likely in this deck you're trying to play this for 1. If you get to the point when you play it for 4, something went wrong. Something went wrong. But yeah, generally you're trying to just play this out for 1. It's going to replace itself, and then you're going to play out another card. So you're going to make the whole transaction a -2 from hand in most cases instead of a -3 from hand. The card you discard for the cost, the Kefla, or the card you play. Oopsie, sorry, it's still a -2. But yeah, normally if you were playing a card, it'd just be a flat -2 from hand. You discard one for the cost, and you you play the card from your hand. But Kefla is going to allow you to play out 2 bodies and make it only a -2 because you draw one, replacing one of the cards that you were going to miss from hand. So very, very good. Momentum comes straight to the board, and 25k is indeed pressure. Your opponent has to drop a 10k in hand to get around that. But what will Kefla and the leader be cheating out? And for that, we're going to go through most of these cards, and we're just going to discuss whether or not you can play them off of Kefla or the leader. For Kefla, you can only cheat that out with the leader because Kefla has a cost requirement, not a power requirement. Now moving into our next card, one of the other stars of this deck, and as well as red in general next set, you have Android 17, a 3 cost, 25k power, 0 combo power card. Permanent, your leader with Universe 7 and his special traits gets 5k power. Permanent, if your leader is awakened, this battle card cannot be KO'd by the skills of your opponent's battle cards. So this can't be cheated out by Goku as a leader, but it can be cheated out by Kefla because of its 3 cost, but yeah, it dodges the leader effect simply because it's a 25k base. Now, this is also cool because while your leader needs to be awakened to have the protection skill, this does not stop it from boosting your leader by 5k. So if you do play this out on curve for any reason, your leader will become a 20k as long as it's on the field. This card will just be a little weak to removal. And when it comes to that, you now have the fact about that removal. This card says cannot be KO'd by your opponent's battle cards. So just be understanding of that. If you're facing green, right? Green cannot sell this, Broly this, green cannot Android 17 and 18 this, green cannot Gohan this, green cannot What's another card? But they can't SCR Gohan this or rare Gohan this. But what green can do is Big Bang it. There's some other cards, but yeah, green can Big Bang this off the board. Then you have red. Red cannot SR Beerus this. Red cannot SR Goku from set 1 this. But what red can do is minus it to 0, which is not hard to do. There are going to be cards that we go through this, like, do this video that can remove this off the face of the earth. When it comes to yellow, yellow doesn't really have cards that destroy. Or, well, they have very few cards that destroy, like, you know, you get that golden death beam, but you also don't really have cards that get cards off the field without destroying. So while you can lock this one down and potentially swing over it in battle, there's not really much you can do about this card other than, again, putting it sideways and attempting to swing over it. Now, blue, this card will evaporate. Blue doesn't have destruction. Blue has bounce and tuck. So everything that blue can do, we'll get rid of this. And the worst part is, if it's bottom decked, it's bottom decked, and that sucks. But even if it goes back to hand, while you can play it out later, it's a 0 cost. So it's not helping you the turn that it's being bounced back to hand. So that's the whole thing you need to work about. This card is significantly weaker versus blue, which is an ongoing trend for a lot of set 2's meta, so just understand that. Moving on, we have got Kefla, and Kefla is a 2-cost 20k power, so it can be cheated out by both the leader effect and it can be cheated out by the Kefla. Yeah, this is called Kefla. Sorry, this is Kefla. And the thing about this, you don't really want to cheat it out with the leader skill. I just want to let you know that you can. This is an excellent card. 5k combo power, it's got critical, and on play you add up one card, or add one card from your life to your hand. It's very good to have cards that do this on play. I do know that lots of people like the cards like Hit that'll do it every time it swings, but the thing about that is every time you turn it sideways, it has a chance of not coming back, and sometimes there are going to be some times where you want to get that life, but you do not want to give them cards. So the on plays are going to be very good. Now, on play and a crit is like a hyper extension of that. You can get your card from your life and potentially just rob them of a card from theirs. So very much so in love with this card. Auto include, I think, in most red decks, period. It's just good. And yeah, there's not really much to say about this card. It's just very solid. Now, we're going to move over to my man, Goheezy. I will be collecting 4 of these SPRs because it's Gohan, and I just can't be bothered. I'm going to be collecting 4 of these SPRs. Now, you have got a 3-cost 20k, so it can be cheated out by both the leader effect and the Kefla. 5k combo power, permanent, your turn. If your leader's awakened, this card gains plus 5k power, making it a 25k swinger on your turn and on your turn only. When attacking, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets minus 15k power for the turn. So some people are calling this big hit. I will not besmirch Gohan's name by that. This is Goheezy. This is SR Goheezy in red. And realistically, the minus 15 is a very, very good stat. Minus 15 on something that you're attacking this guy with is generally going to bring it down to 5k, maybe 10k if it was really strong. And you're going to swing on it with a 25k, requiring a super combo or an extra card or just multiple cards in hand. This guy's the softener. He is going to be able to get in there and just hammer away at opposing boards, and I love it. I think this card is phenomenal. Next, we are going to look at this Kefla. 3-cost, 20k power, so it's cheatable by the leader as well as the Kefla SR. It's a 10k combo power, so it's very good on the stat line. On play, if your leader's awakened, draw 1 card. This is an excellent card to play no matter how you play. Tapping 3 for it is kind of weird, but it's just, if you tap 3 for it, it's essentially just a fatter 1-drop draw 1 card. They can actually turn sideways, so that's good. The combo power is always slick, but if you play it off Kefla, while it doesn't have any other effects than drawing you a card, you're going to be speeding through 2 cards in your deck while adding 2 bodies to the field. You're going to discard a card, play a Kefla, draw a card, that Kefla will play this Kefla, draw a card. So you really only minused 1 card out of hand, and you've added 2 bodies to the board to go neutral or higher with the leader. That's amazing. That's beyond amazing. That's a very, very, very strong interaction, and digging 2 cards deeper in your deck while you do it is something just wonderful. So this is just really, really, really awesome. Now we're going to now step and look at this this next one. This is Sun Gohan Adolescence, another Goheezy. This is the pre-release card, and I will also be winning 4 of these. Sorry. This is a 4-cost, 20,000 power, so it's cheatable only by the leader, not Kefla, because of its cost. And then this comes out It has 5k combo power, a little hard to see in that foil. But permanent, your turn. If your leader's awakened, this card gains plus 20k power. So essentially, you'll be able to poke for 40k, which is borderlining unavoidable damage. If you combo on it any higher, it's going to just break through essentially. Once you're at 40k, most leaders will require a super combo plus to just break it, or one of the 2 cost extra cards that has been circulating throughout all of the colors right now. So you have a pretty good way of just keeping this guy, of keeping your opponent's hand low just by pushing damage with these guys. Just a very, very, very good card in general. And I think that there needs to be some testing, because I think with the introduction of a card 2 cards from now, we aren't quite sure if it's just immediately the card you play. But that being said, it's still a very, very, very good card. So that's pretty awesome. Now, the next card is the Son Goku. This guy is a 3 cost, 25k, 5k combo power. Which means he is cheatable out by the leader, by Kefla, but not the leader, because his cost is low enough, but his power is too high. So this guy is just really a critical beat stick. 25k is good for damage. Your opponent has to drop a 10k, or they have to drop 2 5ks, so you'll kind of start speeding through hand quickly. I think its combo power makes it so it doesn't do enough, and frankly, while I like the idea of having a 25k critical, I also am kind of a little weird on having a critical, having a guy like this. Like his stats are going to be the biggest thing. I wish he was almost like a 4k 20 4 cost 20k, because that would have allowed him to be cheated out by the leader, and then you're able to be 1 up in cost, which is going to help you with some of the cards. But because he's a 3 cost right now, he's just going to get removed by a lot. He's at a very vulnerable stat line, so that's kind of an issue. Then what we have here is Ribrianne. And Ribrianne is very, 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 very powerful. She's a 4 cost, 20k, 10k combo power double striker. And her being a double striker is just ridiculous. This card can be cheated out by the leader, not Kefla, but as a double striker for 1, and being able to put any extra cards you play in your entire hand behind her, the Universe 7, the TOP top coup deck, is going to have some serious closing power, with Ribrianne being able to come in and just immediately close out games. Just powerful, powerful. So this card is just a real winner. And then, this is one that I think a lot of people are overlooking, but I love this card. Quitella, the more and more I play, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I think he's just goated. 2 cost, 20k, which is already a really good stat line. 5k power, combo power. Can't be cheated out by anything because he doesn't have turn into power, because he's a god of destruction. However, on play, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with 15k power or less and KO it. If you're going second and your opponent establishes a Roshi, this is a card that you could use the coin for to pop the Roshi. If your opponent is going second and you're going first and they play a Roshi, you can still do that. Whis, not a problem. This guy is the mirror solver for the early game, and he can also potentially get around certain things like the Masus in blue if Goku Black gets up there. So this guy is good. Bulma's, no problem, say less. This guy is so good at what he does, and I think that Quitella might become staple in red if I'm reading the meta correctly. However, that is where we get the first break, I guess the only break in our video, where we get to talk about the sponsors. So give me 1 second, then we'll get right back to the content. Thank you. So yeah, I am sponsored by Mystic TCG, the coolest store in Missouri and one of the coolest stores in the United States for card game needs. They sell all the popular games plus more, so you can get your pre-orders or your orders at their site. They also hold their own locals for all these card games. Sometimes they hold their own events. You can go to their Facebook site and message Eden directly, the owner of the company, because he buys singles, he buys collections, he buys like prize cards. If you see him at an event and you just talk and you want to convert that into cash, generally he is your guy. So go down in the description, use the link, and use my code UNIXTCG for that hookup. Then, if you're above the border and you live in Canada, you have G3, another great store that holds its own locals, that has a great team for Dragon Ball Super Masters if you want to get more into that competitive scene. Buys cards and sells cards as well. They do a whole lot of cool things, and you can go in the description and use my code there on their site for some discounts there. So that being said, all I wanted to point out is that I am doing a bunch of things in Universe X. We are going off and trying to build our Dragon Ball channel to get that monetized. I just did a video going over the most recent trailer of Sparking Zero. We also are doing streaming on Universe X Gaming. Don't know why I said that weird, but I said that weird. And right now we're going to be starting Chain of Memories, or Rechain of Memories, now that we've finished out, completely maxed out all the secret bosses, Keyblades, everything of Final Mix from #1. So with that being said, let's get into the content. You can always find different things for Universe X to be doing. And oh yeah, if you want to see the deeper dive into this deck, my personal starting deck list for this and where I'm going, the reasoning, the explanations, and a little bit of untap action so you can see how it runs, go to the Patreon, join the $5 tier or higher, and you too can see that magic. Now, let's get back to the cards. So picking up where we left off, we are going to start with Kefla, and that is a 3-cost, 20k power, 10k combo power card. On play, when attacking or when KO'd, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards that gains minus 5k power for the turn. So one of the things I like about this card, good combo power, right? He's TOP, so he can be searched up by Basil. He's 20k, so he goes neutral with the most awakened leaders. And when he's played for 3, you minus 5 something, and you can attack with him, and he minuses 5 again. So this is going to either get rid of 2 1-drops that have, like, 5k power, or it's going to get rid of a singular card with 10,000 power. So I really do think that this is a interesting card. I don't really think it's like busted, but I do think it's worth looking at. It being a 3-cost kind of makes it worse for a couple things, but there are some really good situations where it does work. Being able to take off 10k from something and then, attack with something else is some momentum, but at the same time, just being able to play this guy, like, even if you use your marker for it, playing this guy into your opponent's 2 1-drops, and you just, play him -1, attack with him minus the other, bada bing, bada boom. That's actually just really good clearing. So this is one of those cards where I don't see it coming into decks, but testing may prove that wrong. So yeah, keep that in mind. Now, this is Ganos. You have 3-cost, 20k power, 0 combo power permanent. This card gains plus 25k power while it's in battle with an opponent's battle card. And I really do think that this is kind of a weird position, because realistically, you play this guy, he's bad in hand, and he only attacks onto battle cards, but realistically, battle cards, attacking them, that's one of the easiest ways you can defend. We're entering a format where the extra cards are better than ever. Like, what happens when you attack for 45k and your opponent's like, super combo, and then rewind, and then you just don't get to attack anymore, or things like that. Like, this guy is kind of really funky, especially with all the 2-cost plus 25ks. You give them the same power. If you attack into a 30k with 20k and they just, or with 45k, and they just activate, like, Awakening the Blue or a Glimpse of Hidden Arrogance, you're just like, wow, maybe I suck. And so I think this is kind of a trap that I don't want to fall into. Moving forward, you've got Frieza. This is a 1-cost, 15k, 5k combo power permanent. Your turn. If your leader's awakened, this card gains plus 5k power. I don't think this is bad. This guy will be a 20k swinger in this deck as soon as you're awakened, but I do think it's a bit of a trap to put him in TOP Goku. I think he's just better suited for Universe 7 Goku, because this guy will be a 25k for 1 in that deck, and that's just insane. Normally I don't go over super combos, but it's just good to note that Ribrianne is, and actually it should just be Brienne de Chateau. This is before she transforms into Ribrianne. I believe Aspira pointed it out before, and I was definitely thinking about that when I read this. Ribrianne is a super combo that has the TOP trait, and so it can be searched out using Basil. So it's always good when your super combo can be searched out organically in your deck without you having to go through hoops and loops, And then we have Basil. And Basil is a 1-cost, 5,000 power, 5,000 combo power. On play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 non-Basil card with the cost of 4 or less, and turn of power in special traits, add it to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in a random order. So this is just the searcher. It comes together, it pulls everything together. This card can single-handedly search for your Keflas, your Gohans, your Ribrianne super combos, your Ribrianne double strikers, like all of these cards get searched out by this, and so it is a very, very strong card. It's just a searcher that brings a lot together. Like, I know, like, it's, oh gosh, it's just a one-drop searcher, and it is just a one-drop searcher, but it's just, the deck has a lot of good cards. Speaking of one drops, we have Piccolo, and this is just a one drop 5k power, 5k combo power, just draw a card. The cool thing is it's tournament power, so they basically reprinted the Roshi, except they gave it a tag that could synergize better with this, so you can now cheat it out with your leader if you wanted to, with Kefla if you wanted to. You can search it off of Basil. So yeah, and if we ever get any cards that are like, oh, you need 3 or more tournament power cards to work with, that'll do too. It'll do things, so that's pretty cool. Now we're going to move on to the extras, and we have got Clash of the Strongest. This is a 2-cost, activate main, choose all of your battle cards with tournament power and their special traits, and they gain plus 10,000 power for the turn. I think this is a trap though, because against yellow you should have a lot of things on the board, but they may not be able to untap, go to active mode at the beginning of your turn. Against green, this card will probably slap. This card will probably slap very hard. In the red mirror match, it really depends on how much removal is in your opponent's deck. And the blue matchup, I don't know about that, Chief. I think blue actually is going to deal with boards very easily come this set. I need to test more, but I'm pretty high on blue right now. And then, so I think this is kind of a trap. I just don't think that you have to have a board and this card in hand, and I don't want to risk running a dead card when I don't have a board, especially since it says battle cards. If it was your leader card too, at least you can always boost your leader and then maybe a battle card or two, but nah, not with this. And granted, yes, you are able to go Kefla into a guy for 1, and then you still can play this for 2 and boost up those. But once again, if it counted your leader too, that may make it 2 snap, but that would make Kefla a 3-card play to potentially put like 30,000 power on board or more. That would be nice. Sorry, 30,000 on 3 different attacks, 30,000 or more across 3 different attacks, like, but it's not like that. So moving over to this next card, Save by Barrier, 1 cost, activate battle opponent's turn, choose your leader up to 1 of your battle cards, against plus 20k power for the battle. Then if the chosen card is a battle card, that card cannot be KO'd for the battle this turn. This is actually pretty cool. Defends yourself and then prevents them from swinging on again. This is, it's a risky card, but still really strong. You're only using 1 energy for it, so hey, it may just be that card. If we were going into a meta where we had a side deck, I would definitely put this in against every yellow matchup. But fact of the matter is, and actually, yeah, fact of the matter is just, if they don't have to just swing on it by battle. The destruction in this game is at an all-time high unless you were yellow. So I do believe that this card is neat, but it's not gonna necessarily assure that your card sticks around. And then we have the Glimpse of Hidden Arrogance. This card is dumb. 2 energy, active battle, choose your leader up to 1 of your battle cards, against plus 25k power for the battle. Then if you have a battle card with 30,000 power or more, which basically means as long as the battle card you chose was 5k power or more, you're going to add a battle card with the cost of 4 or less from your drop to your hand. It's likely going to be Kefla, spoiler alert. You're going to get Kefla back so you can keep playing Kefla for 1 and keep blowing up your field like an accordion. It just expands. If they clear it, expands again. It's insane. So, yeah, that is pretty much that. This card is just absolutely nuts, and if you guys test with it, you'll see. If you are on my Patreon or thinking about joining and you're checking out the video that I put up today with some untapped gameplay, you're gonna see this card is absolutely insane. Then coming back from the other sets, a little return, you got Master Roshi. This card is paramount. This card is one of the best cards in the game for this deck. It just because if your opponent can't answer it, you turbo glide into your awakened state. 1 cost, 5k power, 10k combo power, activate main once per turn, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand during this turn. The next time you use an extra card from your hand, reduce the cost of that by red. Strong card. There's really no real drawbacks to it. It's just actually good. The only drawback that you can have is that it's easy to remove. Yellow can play a 1-drop freeze up, punch it. 2-drop Krillin, tap it, punch it with the leader. Red has a plethora of ways to get rid of it. Green has Kami and I-Beam, but they're kind of the weakest about it. Blue has like a jillion ways. Blue can bottom deck it, bounce it, bottom deck it, bottom deck it. Like, they have a lot. So this is a really, really good card. It's just not really protected. So if you see it, you see it. And if you do see it, you got to cross your fingers and hope they don't have the out for it. But chances are it's not getting past the turn. So that is that. And yeah, that's pretty much like this card in doubles. If you see 2 of these opening up in this deck going second, you are likely just going to cruise into your game plan and just Giga Turbo Awaken, because chances are they're getting rid of 1 of these, not 2 of them, and you just need 1 more Awakening card, and you really just kind of go off. So now next you have this trap card. I think this is going to be like the last card for this one. Lots of people want this card to work so bad, but this is just the Son Goku SER. You're not tapping 4 for anything in this deck besides Kefla. This is not your champion. For the 4 cost that you could minus 15k and then attempt to swing, you could have played Kefla for just, 4 or for 1 from your hand, and then you could have played Gohan from your hand and get 2 attacks in for 25 each while minus something by 15k. Yeah, nah, this card is a trap. Do not fall into this trap. If I'm wrong, I will eat a sock or something like that, but this card is a trap. So yeah, with this 0k combo power itself, this card is not really good in this deck, but a lot of people will probably try to make it work because it's Ultra Instinct Goku. Now we are going to move into the closing before we wrap up this video. So my thing here is that this deck essentially tries to awaken as fast as possible, cheat cards into play, and then overwhelm your opponent. And when it goes off, I think this deck feels unfair. It feels like you're cheating, or your opponent's cheating if they're playing against you. However, when you don't see enough awakening pieces because of RNG, or you don't see enough Keflas, or you see all Keflas but not like the greatest things to play off the Keflas, or your opponent, in cases of opposing red decks or blue decks, happens to see removal that keeps up with your assault, you end up with less and less of a hand and less of a field because being destroyed, and eventually you sit here really hanging out and ready to dry. So I want to test this deck a lot. I think this is the deck that's going to take the most testing, because I'm not quite sure yet if these shortcomings can be fixed via deck building, or if this is just going to be the nature of the deck: high risk, high reward, explosive power. So with that being said, I'm going to close this out. We've gone over a lot of the deck list. I'm foreseeing a lot. We're almost done with the set 2 decks. We're going to be doing Zamasu tomorrow, and just like the other decks before then and this deck, we'll have the video on this channel followed by the Patreon deeper dive on the Patreon. And then next week, well, towards the end of this week, we'll be getting the how to win at sealed, so we'll be doing that. And then on top of the how to win at sealed, we will next week be getting into set 1 leaders revisited. So I hope you guys are in for a whole lot of content. We're going to be really kicking it into high gear, and I will see you in the next video. And as the last little piece of this, I do want to give some special shout outs to the people on the Patreon, because it is popping. This week has been monumental growth. But I want to give a vocal shout out to the Realm of Xers, and that is going to be the when it comes to the Realm of Xers, you have got you got Adnan. Thank you for being a Realm of Xer. Big Daddy Flapjack, Burrar, a brand new addition today, which is Professor Spez. We got Bryce R, Kevin I, Mario V, and Mr. Top Deck. Thank you guys for being the Realm of Xers. I appreciate your extra support, and I will keep working harder and harder to make sure I earn that support every day. Thank you, and I will see you guys in the next video, post, stream, wherever, whenever.